Hi again, this is Jim Musser from Upstream Ministries, and welcome to episode 21 of Views from Downstream. And we've been this week focusing on parents and being intentional about discipling your kids, and talked about the challenges of time management in carrying out any kind of plan that you have to raise your kids spiritually, that you're going to have to guard that and prioritize discipleship over many things because the other activities will encroach on that if you are not guarded against it. And so today I want to focus a little bit on what you can do as parents in terms of activities, things that would be helpful to bring your kids along in the faith. Now, one of the things that is typical American is we love formulas. We love step-by-step approaches, the 5 steps to raising a spiritually powerful child, or, the 10 steps that every parent should know in raising their kids, that kind of thing. We love that kind of formulaic approach. But the reality is no child is the same, as you probably already have recognized that if you have children, and no family is the same. And so a formulaic approach will not be satisfactory. You have to adapt. You can have some principles, some ideas, but you have to make those work for your children and your family and how you live. And so I'm not here to offer formulas. I'm basically here to emphasize some important things. And probably the most important, I talked last week about this passive learning model that we incorporate in the church, and it's been pretty much thoroughly incorporated, where we spend most of our time sitting and listening and not doing much engaging in the subject matter other than in our minds if we choose to do so. And I don't think that's a very effective approach. And so a lot of people will recommend like doing devotionals with your kids and that kind of thing. And those are great. But you have to realize that kids need to be engaged. And if you remember as a kid, the classes that you were engaged in were the ones that your teachers got you involved in. They weren't just talking at you. They were getting you involved in activities revolving around the subject matter. And that's what I would encourage you above all else. When you are either reading the scriptures or praying or talking about serving, is to get your kids involved in those activities, having them do things. So if you're having a devotion and your kids are old enough to read and capable of reading the scriptures, even if it's out of their own children's Bible, then have them read. Let them read the scriptures, and you can talk about it and then ask questions and get them engaged. Same way with praying. Get them involved in actually praying. And you can model some of that, what that should look like and sound like, but they need to actually be doing it. And in terms of service, you can't just talk about serving people. You have to show them and get them involved in serving. And that can be just in a neighborhood, serving a need that somebody has. That could be, as one family I knew a long time ago went with us, our ministry, on a spring break trip to help in hurricane relief in Louisiana, and they took their 2 kids who were fairly young at the time, and that laid the groundwork for them every year while their kids were still at home. they would take a week-long mission trip as a family. I can't think of much of anything that would top that. That is just such a neat thing to do. But it's getting your kids engaged. And the other thing is to remember your kids are watching you. And so not only do you need to kind of lead them by activities, but lead them by your life. And that's where it's great if you're doing some kind of ministry for someone, or just even reading the Bible on your own, you're showing them what it's like to follow Jesus. And where it's appropriate, you can take them along with you and show them. So it doesn't have to be rocket science. And you can experiment and learn what is workable and what isn't. And some things will work great with kids that are younger and won't work when they get a little older, and vice versa. So you have to experiment. But the thing is just to be intent on pouring into your kids the love of Jesus and showing them through the scriptures and through your own life what it looks like to follow Jesus. Okay, so have a great weekend, and we'll see you back here on Monday with another topic and theme. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.